Right, after I did the video removing and replacing a door handle for the painting I did, I had a couple of people DM me and then a couple of comments on, I think it's Facebook or YouTube, asking me exactly how I did it. So, for the primer, all I use is the high coat plastic primer, because then it gives a white base. Then the paint I like using the Montana, I've gone for the metallic black, and then so I know it suits, I'm going to use the Montana matte varnish as well. So that's all the paints you need. I've used 180 grit sandpaper just to key the surface, just rough it up all over so the primer has something to stick to, because like when you get these, they're gloss, dead mirror finish, feels like glass. You want it to stick to something. Then with rattle cans, obviously you want to always try and spray them upright if you can, not facing down or upside down or on their side. You want the best consistent finish on it, so always try and keep the rattle can up. So rather than try and manipulate the can around the piece, I always try and move the piece to suit the can. So what I've done is, when I do little pieces like this, use some double-sided tape, get a bit of wood and set some screws to the height that I want to suit whatever bit it is I'm doing. Then I could just have this in one hand. I'll wear an old hoodie while I'm in the garage painting, and I'll wear a glove on my left hand, and then I'll have the paint in my right, so I can just move it as and how I want. With the paint, I'll leave it in the house sort of overnight in like an airing cupboard, just get it really warm through, and then it's warm now, and then in between coats what I'll do is I'll keep a bucket of warm water nearby and just leave it sitting in there. And this one, the primer is 15 minutes between coats with this one. Obviously there'll be difference for different manufacturers, different specifications, but with this one it's 15 minutes. So with the spraying, obviously the release and the when you press and release the trigger, that's when you're going to get your splodginess, and that's also why you want to do a good shake as well. I think it's 2 minutes for 2 minutes is a good sort of bar to set with all of them. That's what I'll do across all of them. Always 2 minutes. Just set a timer, stand there. It's a bit tedious, but once you do it that first time, you'll realise how much it changes the way the paint sprays. So always want to start the trigger here, go across your whole piece and let go of the trigger here. Never press or release the trigger while you're on a piece. That's when you get your little spots and splodginess. So I'm going to go and do probably 3 coats with this primer. Get it on there. Do really light coats rather than heavy, then have it running. Do more coats but lighter. So I'm going to get that set up now. I'm in a new garage, so I'm nowhere near how I want to be. So I'm going to just do light coats all over with a primer. Well, you're going to see we do 1 coat, 15 minutes, then another one, then 50 minutes, and I'll do the third and final one with a primer. And then we'll move on to sanding that down once that's dry. It takes 24 hours to cure. And not in a rush, so I'll give it 24 hours. Obviously, sometimes it does depend on the conditions. If it's freezing cold, and you know, always take it inside if it is as cold as it is now. I'll do the coats out here, let it settle, and then I'll take it inside so it's a bit warmer. But I'll give that 24 hours, and then it'll be onto the paint, sanding and the painting. So obviously always chuck on a mask for the spraying. And like I said, start at one end, go away, let go there, and then again with that. And then like the inside, although you're never ever going to see in there, I'm still going to sort of aim through, quick passes up, and then let go at the top. Yeah, nothing heavy on them. Just a light coat, like I say, do more. Hold on. Try and do lighter but multiple passes. Lay on nicely, don't rush it. there's the first pass, so we'll give it 15 minutes, come out and do the second, and then third. Right, we've got the 15 minutes, so second coat again, we're just going to go in light. Another 15 minutes and then we'll come and do the third and final coat. So we're on the third and final coat now of the primer. So same again, kept it in warm water, shook it for 2 minutes. That should be plenty for that. So 24 hours, I'll let it settle for a little while out here. Let the fumes settle down and then I'll take it inside so it's warm, so it's definitely 24 hours is good. But yeah, as long as you keep the paint in a warm tub of warm water, that keeps it nice and like very fine. You'll find it if you spray it cold, it gets a bit splodgy. But yeah, so that's the primer done. Then we'll move on to, like I say, I'm going to use the metallic black. There should only be 1 or 2 coats of that, it doesn't take much for that at all, and then the varnish to finish. So yeah, that'll be 24 hours, let that cure, and then we'll get on to sanding it down, wiping it down and get it ready for the paint. Sorted. Right, so the problem is I had the 24 hours to cure now. We're back out in the garage. Let me try and get it on camera. You can't really see, but you'll be able to, if you do this, you'll be able to feel it with like sort of back of finger. It feels just a little bit sort of rough. We made sure like obviously put on a couple of layers because we're going to go sand it back down. What I'll do is use some 1200, some high grit, and just, I don't like using a block or anything, I like just doing it with my hands with the amount of curves and the little dips in between the ridges. I just like to, you can feel what you're doing a bit better. And if there's any splodgy bits or raised parts where you've had runs or anything where you went a bit too slow, but not gonna go mad. Just some inside the paint, the next coats have something to stick to. Then give it a wipe down. Get my glove and mask back on. I doubt you'll see anything on the camera. It's more by feel. But once you've gone over it all, it feels a lot smoother. Just feels you can't even hear it, like anything rubbing on it. It just feels very smooth. And same again, now that we've sanded it off with the black paint, I've had it sitting in warm water. I imagine I've used it before and I think I'll only need 1 coat to do this. But again, pressing and releasing the trigger when you're off the piece. So again, I'm going to give that another 24 hours, let it settle, and then we'll see what it looks like after that, and then see if it needs another coat or finish with a varnish. So here's the metallic coat after it's had its 24 hours. Hopefully the camera picks up enough, but it doesn't really do it justice. I'm not in natural light. Try and get it to focus in, but I think it looks a bit too much with a glossy finish. So that's why I'm going matte over the top with matte varnish. Same with the previous cans. I've had the can sitting in warm water, shook it for 2 minutes. But with this, definitely better going more coats but lighter. It's very easy to build it up too much and get runs, and it goes thick and it ends up looking like a cream if you go too much. But yeah, so exact same as the last ones. Get a mask on. So here's the metallic black after it's had its 24 hours. I think it personally just looks a little bit too much. The camera isn't doing it justice, and I'm not in natural light either under the LEDs. But with the like metallic flakes and the glossy finish it leaves, I just think it's just a little bit too much. So that's why I'm using the matte finish Montana to sort of dumb it down a little bit, but still keep the metallic flake. The cans are the same as the last two. Left it sat in warm water and shook it for 2 minutes. But the difference between this one and the others is this one's only 2 minutes between each coat. So it's a lot safer doing more coats with this, but going lighter. Very easy to sort of build it up too quick, and you end up getting your runs and sort of your creamy white patches where it's had too much. So probably two or three thin coats, and then we'll be totally done. So only 2 minutes between this pass and the last. Still, the can was plenty warm enough, but still give it a good shake for 30 seconds. So that's all the spraying done. We'll get that 24 hours and then come back and you'll see what sort of finish it gives. And then at the end, I had someone comment on the last video I did of painting the door handle previously on the passenger side. Someone asked me to just show them how to do the driver side as well. It's just a tiny bit different. So if you're not interested in that, I'll end it at the spraying part. When you see it in the finish, I'll get it outside, get in some natural light as well, so you can see what sort of finish it leaves. But yeah, sorted. So we'll come back after 24 hours and see what it looks like. So this is the finished product. Hopefully it's focusing on the handle okay. There, obviously going matte over a metallic finish does seem quite pointless, but I quite like it because in the shade it looks nice and dull and flat like that, and then once you get the part in the sun, hopefully you're seeing it well enough on camera, you start to get the shine through, like the metallic comes through, it's bright enough to come through the matte. Yeah, sorted. Like I said, they do the semi-gloss, gloss and this matte finish anyway, so there's plenty to play around with, different variations you can go with. But yeah, sorted. That's how I paint all the plastic parts on my car. So I'm going to end the video there for this part anyway. So that's how I paint all the plastic bits. If you're not interested in the next part, I'm going to fit this back on the car. So unless you've got this exact car, the next bit is probably pointless, but there was a subscriber who asked me to do a video fitting the, specifically the driver's side door. But yeah, sorted. So now I'm going to go do that bit. So this is a quick one for the person who was commenting on the video to do the driver's side. The exact same as a passenger. Take the grommet out of here. You've got a T20 Torx bit in there. Just wind it out till it stops. Then mine broke when I took it off. That's why I ended up buying a new one anyway. But this, just pull it off, or if you have to, pry. But they're that loose and they end up snapping anyway. You can see why I snapped one messing around with it. And that was the only difference between this and the passenger. With the other one, you have to undo that screw first to pull the faux barrel out. It's a barrel with the clip on it. This one, sort of, the clips go, the little tabs go through those slots. And then with that screw again, just tap it in lightly. Same as the other side. Then get your barrel out of the way. Then again, pull it to the back of the car while sort of pivoting it out at the same time. And just be careful working the front end round. Then putting it back in, I've given it a quick wipe down. All you got to watch is that gasket there. Put it back on. The rear one stays on the car unless you purposely sort of try to pull it out. But the same thing, put the front end in first, and then just slowly, you'll feel it, push the back in. Try and work it round. So sorted. Then the barrel, like I said, on the driver's side, it clips onto the barrel of the clip and it stays on there. T20 Torx bit again. Get the T20 Torx bit again. Back on that screw. Do that back up, you'll feel a little bit of tension on that and you know it's tight. Sorted. So that's the passenger side and driver side matching in the same black now. I think it looks a lot better on the side of the car. But yeah, sorted. So there's painting the plastic parts on the car. Like I said, interior, exterior, it's all the same. And there's the driver's side handle for whoever it was that commented. I'll try and find out who it was and try and tag you in it, mate. But yeah, sorted. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.